Welcome back, guys, to We Talk Boxing. So this is just a little bit of boxing news now in regards to Anthony Joshua. Eddie Hearn has come out, today and pretty much said that Anthony Joshua should return to the ring by early April to hopefully face a top 15 contender. And Eddie Hearn, stated in this article that he's kind of set out a three-fight plan to hopefully allow Anthony Joshua to be in the position, by the end of, 2023, maybe early 2024, to challenge, for hopefully one of the vacant belts, depending on what happens regarding Usyk and the titles or Tyson Fury and the titles if they fight, etc., etc. Now, it's an interesting, article. I've read it back to back, and it pretty much, outlines obviously how Joshua obviously got to the position that he was, who the people that he's fought, such as Wyatt, etc., and how he's, he was undefeated and he lost, etc. So it was a quite a long-winded article, but it gets to the point really towards the end where it pretty much says that, obviously Hearn wants AJ to have that plan. He doesn't just want him to go out, and to be thinking about, the Twitter tweeters, etc., and try and think, oh yeah, I should fight Tyson and go for all guns blazing and go for the WBC, because at this stage he's coming off two losses back to back to Usyk, who is a smaller, the heavyweight champion, pretty much the man in a division with all the belts except Tyson, who's got pretty much a better resume. At heavyweight compared to Usyk, but who's Tyson is more of, a tougher challenge for AJ right now. He needs to be, fighting regularly to build that confidence and to hopefully, to allow him to be in the position to know that he could go into a fight against the potential Tyson Fury, because I think he will beat Usyk, and be like, I can challenge Tyson and I can potentially beat him, because he's got that confidence, he's got that power punch back, which he was knocking man's out, in the start of his career. But anyway, cutting a long story short, because I've gone off topic a little bit. Yeah, so Eddie Hearn, he's looking to put him in there with a top 15 contender to hopefully, as I said, put him in that position to challenge, for one of the titles. And looking at the rankings, it could be anyone realistically. He's already pretty much said, Hearn, that he wants to put him in with White after this first fight back, and then maybe a Wilder at the end of the year. But looking at the division, obviously Tyson's pretty much going to be tied up with Usyk if they could get the undisputed fight done. Wilder is currently number two. He's going to be pretty much. He should be fighting Andy Ruiz next for that WBC title eliminator. Joe Joyce hasn't got a fight lined up at the minute, so maybe there could be a consideration there. But I feel as if that would be a big banana slip up. For an Anthony Joshua if he tries to fight a Joyce right now, because that's a tough fight to come back to. Then you've obviously got in the ring magazines, you've got obviously White is six. Ortiz, I don't know how he's still in there. He's number seven in the ring magazines. Then you've got a Josie Parker who Anthony Joshua's already beat before. Can't really see that fight making sense. And then you've got, Hergovich, who's number nine in the ring magazine. And then you've got a Sanchez as well. So those latter two guys probably makes a bit more sense, especially the Hergovich fight, because if Hearn can make the Hergovich fight with an AJ, yes, it's a tough fight, because Hergovich on his day, if he turns up, that is a good fighter, and he's got some good skills, and he's quite durable at the same time. Do you know what I mean? So that would be a tough fight for AJ to come back to, but a good fight, because if AJ can defeat a Hergovich, then potentially that will put him pretty much in a Mando position for the IBF title, because if Usyk or Tyson Fury, whoever wins out that fight, has to vacate that title because they don't want to defend it, then it puts AJ in a good position if he could beat Hergovich, because he would be pretty much the next in line to fight the number two, whoever that is at the time. But Sanchez, I don't really know a lot about Sanchez. Obviously, I've seen a couple of fights and he looks alright, but the opposition ain't great that he's fought to date. I think he fought a Jagba, which at the time a Jagba, Fe Jagba was considered a big puncher, but he schooled him and he knocked him down multiple times. But a Sanchez could be a good fight, but it doesn't really do much for AJ's, rankings position really. But it'd be maybe a good fight to come back to. Um, and providing obviously AJ can get a knockout, because I don't feel as if he would beat Sanchez on points, because Sanchez has, as I said, he's got a bit of skills, whereas at the minute, AJ's confidence is really low, so who knows really. Other potential fights, just looking through, the WBO, WIBF, etc. rankings and that. Could be a Zhilei Zhang. Obviously, that fight could potentially take part in China, but even though I like that fight for AJ, I think it's a tough fight because Zhilei Zhang pretty much beat Hrgovic, but he just didn't get the decision. And Zhang is a big heavyweight. Do you know what I mean? Which might play into AJ's hands because he doesn't. AJ said that he doesn't like fighting the smaller heavyweights, but Zhang is quite durable and he's got some good skills as well. So I feel as if that would probably be a bit too much of a tougher fight for AJ to come back to. And then he's got his old foe, Charles Martin, which would be interesting, but can't see that fight being the fight that AJ would come back to. And then you've got other people which he's been linked with as well, such as Otto Wardlin. That's a pretty good fight to come back to, because again, if he could get in there with someone like an Otto Wardley and then, school him and proper knock him out, that's saying something, because obviously Tyson Fury went, he was struggling with him pretty much. He nearly lost. Do you know what I mean? So again, that would be a good fight. And then lastly, the only other name I'm going to pretty much mention is a Jarrell Miller. And we all know what happened there. These guys were meant to fight, but obviously Jarrell failed the drugs test for the 58th, 100th millionth time. Are you joking? So that'll be a good fight, providing Miller is clean. Do you know what I mean? But again, I'm not sure if Hearn would go with that, because Hearn probably wouldn't trust Miller in case he is, he does take some sort of PEDs and that fight gets cancelled, and that brings AJ's 3 fights for the year down to 2. But anyway, as I said, it's just a quick update in regards to letting you know the recent interview with Hearn doing about AJ. You guys let me thought, who would you like to see AJ in with next? Do you know what I mean? Any, considerations? Because as Hearn said, once he gets this first fight out of the way, he's pretty much going to look to do a summer fight with AJ and White, and then hopefully towards the end of the year try and get a Wilder. Do you know what I mean? So those 2 fights, if AJ gets past the first fight, are going to be tough fights for AJ. Do you know what I mean? So who would you like to see AJ in with now? As always, guys, please subscribe and like and comment for more boxing related content. Bless.